Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got a third-party transforming figure review and unboxing coming your way. This time around we're going to be taking a look at the Make a Friend KD02 Galva. So this is their take on a Legend-scaled Galvatron. I don't know anything about this company. I've never gotten a product from this company before, so we're going to be going through this together, but we're going to go ahead and start with that unboxing and see what we've got in here. So as you can see, first we'll start and look at that box, but as you can see, I don't even have him opened yet. So we have that, I guess that's their logo up there. You've got some pretty cool artwork right there. The Journey of Rebirth KD02 ages 15 plus. Back here you have some product shots showing him in his bot mode, looking all Galvatron-y. There are some differences between the products and the pictures. Use the material object as the standard. Okay, I sure will. And then over here you have that in his alt mode. And over here you have the same thing in his alt mode. Up top, Exiles. Down low, KD02, KD02B, and then a sticker. There might be something underneath there, but I haven't ripped that sticker off yet. So there you go. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get this guy opened up and see what's inside of him. Alright, so here is everything as it comes out of the box. So you've got some instructions there, and you've got the figure, and then you've got a bag of accessories. So that's how he comes out of the box, and what we'll do now is we'll just do a quick edit, and I'll have everything laid out here, and we'll take a nice organized look at everything that came inside that box. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box with Galva. And I do have to admit, this dude came with a lot of stuff, so that is definitely one feather in his cap. But we're going to start over here on the left-hand side. This is just your instruction booklet. Something I want to show real quick. Can you see how that's not folded very nicely? Yeah, that's kind of indicative of what we have here throughout the entirety of Galva. But we'll dive into that a little bit more a little bit later. Just kind of disappointed with the folding on that. But yeah, you can see he comes with a lot of stuff, and we're going to start right here in the middle. He comes with a whole slew of left hands, so good for him. I think they meant to put a right hand in, but I have two splayed out left hands, so we're just going to focus on one of them here and bring that in for that close-up. And you can see it's pretty nice. Nothing too fancy, but gets the job done for sure. It's just a plug and play. Just plug it in, take it out. And that is the same thing for this one. It's just another splayed out left hand, and then you get a pointy left hand. So there you go with a nice point going on. And then you can see that it is hollow underneath. And same thing, you just plug it in and you go. All right, now we're going to talk about those faces. So not counting the face that he comes with. Oh yeah, and he comes with two fists. So thank goodness, a left fist and a right fist. So that's nice. But yeah, so not counting the face that is on him right now, you get two additional faces. So we'll start over here. If I can keep my fingers out of the way so you can see it. So kind of a sneery, I don't know, getting ready to kill somebody face. So you've got that. And then, yeah, you just got a couple plugs right there. You just plug it in and go. And then you have kind of a yelly face. So kind of an angry, yelly face going on right there. All right. And then we're going to talk about the Matrix of Leadership. So he does come with a Matrix of Leadership with the chain to put around his neck. I may have this wrong, but this is the best way that I could figure out how to do it. So this is just one of those little ball chains. I'm sure everybody's seen them. So nothing too exciting there. And then you've got the Matrix itself. So I didn't see a better way to wrap this chain around the Matrix. So if you can think of a better way, let me know. But anyway, there's the details on the Matrix. So this is just plastic. You've got some gold paint, blue paint on there on both sides. So nothing too exciting, but it's not awful. There was a little bit of flash left on the sprue right here. So I did go ahead and kind of take a little bit of that down. But yeah, there was a pretty good amount left there, which was kind of disappointing as well. But again, kind of indicative of the overall quality that I'm seeing so far in this figure. All right, so now we'll get to his cache of weapons over here, and we'll start with this little pistol. So I'm not entirely sure what this pistol is supposed to signify from the movie, but it's a pistol. I'm happy that he has it. Nothing too exciting, but there you go. A little bit of sculpt work in there. And then moving on to his big old rifle. So this is a good sized rifle and decent amount of sculpt work there. No blast effect compatibility, but it looks pretty good. And here is the other side. So there you go. And it just plugs right into the fisty hands and you're off to the races. Now bringing in his cannon. So I think this is done fairly well. It's not the best thing that I've ever seen, but it gets the job done for sure. So you've got that clear orangey yellow plastic, or translucent orangey yellow plastic. You've got this slot right here, so that slot actually goes to a tab that's on his forearm, so you can plug it in right there so he can hold his cannon. This does come apart, so you take that off and then we'll focus on this part right here. So you can see on that hilt or that base, just see how that plugs in. And then you get a little bit of silver paint right there, and then coming to the back side. It looks pretty good. This also doubles when you convert him to his cannon mode, so this sits on the underside as well. So there you go. That is it for everything that came with Galva. So let's go ahead and get into his details. Here he is, that servant of Unicron that we've all been waiting to see. This is the KD-02 Galva, their take on a legend-scaled Galvatron. So let's go ahead and bring him in and take a look at those details. And we will start with that face. As I mentioned earlier, this is interchangeable. So this is one of the 3 faces that you can use. And I think they nailed it as far as looks. He's a little off in the face, but I think, you know, with that crown, or the top of his head, I call it a crown, but I think that looks pretty good. Coming down to the chest, I think the chest came out looking all right. He does seem slightly non-proportional in certain areas, but I think this midsection, they nailed it. And coming on down to the crotch, everything looks all right there. He's got those big old thick Galvatron legs, as he should, and you do have elements of silver on the inside right there. No hollow areas to speak of on this guy, so very happy about that. Now, he's certainly got his flaws, but I think the overall aesthetic here, I think he nails it pretty good. He's got big old feet. I wish he had more ankle or more heel back here because he can get a little back heavy. But you've definitely got big old feet, and then you've got these big old toes. Remind me of the Dutch-style wooden shoes. Even underneath, you've got some nice attention to detail there. So I think that looks pretty good. Here he is from the side. If I can get him balanced. Lean back a little bit, just a little bit. There you go. So there he is from the side. So I think he's quite proportional. No huge backpack. Nothing crazy there. I think he cleans up pretty good. And taking a look at those side details. Starting down here. Coming up the leg. Got that silver on the outside of the leg as well. And then looking at that midsection, so you can see that he is solid all the way through, which is nice. A couple of things you can see right there. That's one of my issues. This doesn't really lock in. It's just a design thing. I mean, you can push it in and it'll kind of hold, but it's really being held by friction more than by a tab, so it doesn't take very much at all to pop that open. But as long as you're careful with your posing, he still looks pretty good and pulls it off. And then looking at those shoulder pylons, everything looks pretty good there. And then arms, got just a touch of silver there in those arms. Coming on down. Then you've got his tracks. Looking back here. We'll see those again in the tank mode, but yeah, don't look too bad. Here he is from a back view, and credit where credit is due. He looks good even from back here. So not an abundance of assembly screws, hollow areas, anything like that. So I think one of those few bots, particularly on the legend scale, one of those few bots that you can even have him facing away from you, and he looks pretty good doing it. So definitely plenty of silver back here on him as well. So yeah, I think those legs turned out looking really good. All right, so yeah, I think overall looks here, I'm going to give it to the guy. He's a little off in the face. Something is a little off in his proportions. I don't know if it's the arms or what it might be, but I think overall he looks pretty darn good. He definitely pulls off a Galvatron here, so credit where credit is due as far as that's concerned. So let's go ahead and get into the articulation, and I think this is another area where the figure shines. He's got his limitations, but for a legend-scaled figure, I think they do a pretty good job here. So starting up here at the head, this is as far up as that head will go, but it does go down that far, and you can see the face wants to come off a little bit there. But we'll talk about that with the quality issues. I'm going to go ahead and let that face fall. Hey, look at that. Easy removal. Ooh, he's scary. But yeah, so down a little bit side to side, and you can go all the way around. Now, this is a tight ball joint, and I will tell you, these are sharp, so you will hurt yourself on them if you push too hard, so just be aware of that. Coming over here to the shoulders, again, keeping in mind that he's not supposed to come up like that as part of the bot. So I'm just going to put my thumb right here. The shoulder will come up that far, and then you can go all the way around on that ball joint if you care to do so. Just watch out for that geometry. And then you do have bicep rotations. So again, just keep in mind that that track is right there. You can get a good amount of bicep rotation right there just above the elbow, and then you do get double jointed elbows, so nice deep bend there. This is partially due to your transformation, but take advantage of it if you want. And because those hands are removable, you get full 360 degrees on that wrist. All right, so lifting those up, not worrying about these gaps right now. You do get waist rotations, so be careful when you do this. You can go all the way around, but you can see that there is an interference point right there with those hip skirts, so you actually need to take those hip skirts and make them horizontal, and then you can come all the way around if you want to do that. So just be aware of that. Watch out when you're running into those hip skirts. Speaking of those hip skirts, these hip skirts actually help quite a bit because I have a quality issue with my hips. As you can see, these hips are incredibly loose. So the hip skirts really do a good job of holding those legs steady for me. So I do appreciate that. But anyway, getting those out of the way. As far as those hips go, so forward kick, you're going to get that far before you start running into stuff. Now you can twist the leg around and get a few degrees extra, but that's up to you. Back kick, you get quite a bit. And then overall splits, depending on where you grab this guy, you can get almost full splits on him, and then you let him go, and then those legs just wee. So you do that. Now you do also have thigh rotation, so you can go all the way around with the thigh. Just again, be careful of that upper thigh area not to run into anything. Knees, double jointed knees, so pretty awesome there. Nice deep knee bend, really helpful. And then coming down to the feet. So the feet are on ball joints, so you do have an okay range of motion. You are limited. You are limited by all the interference here with the rest of the geometry. You do have this little tab right here. You can move that out of the way. It's for transformation, but if you need a deeper bend for that outward ankle tilt, you could do that. Pushing that back in, your inside ankle bend or ankle tilt is going to go that far, and then bringing that feet down right there, bringing the feet up that far, and then you do have those toes that you can move. So if you want to get him in a, a pose, something like that, well, maybe not falling down. Oh, look at that. He stands by himself right there. I was not expecting that. That's really cool. Anyway, yeah, so he's breakdancing. But yeah, so I think really far more articulation, posability than I was expecting. Not to dwell too much on the quality side of things here, but these loose hips kill me. They're absolutely awful. Yes, you can fix them on your own. Kind of disappointing that he comes out of the box like that. So, and of course, being ball joints, they're only going to get worse over time. So that is what it is. But yeah, our overall articulation is done really well. So what we'll do now is go ahead and talk about all those accessories this dude has and go over some of those features. And now it's time for Fun with Accessories, starring Galva. So let's go ahead and get started, and yeah, we're just going to start with that face because he's missing one. So take your pick of faces, and that was one that we already had on, so move that on out of the way. Let's get Screamy Angry Face. Put Screamy Angry Face on him. So there's the Screamy Angry Face. All you're going to do, you can see way up in there, hopefully you have some, boy, that kind of does look like a scary face right there, but you've got some eye holes, and we're just going to take those posts and plug those in. And this guy is very tiny, so dexterity is your friend here. And then you're just going to plug it in. So this face is a little bit more secure than the others, but there you go. He's got a face now, and he's all screamy angry. So yeah. All right. Now, moving on to the next thing. Let's go ahead and talk about his hands. You can remove the right hand if you want to, but yeah, I don't see much point, at least for me, because I don't have any other right hands to use. So we're just going to focus on the left hand. You just pull it off, set it off to the side, and then you can take one of your two splayed out hands, plug them in, and there you go. He's like, I'm really angry and I'm waving my hand around. Something like that, I guess. Yeah, I'm not going to do a Galvatron impression. So there you have that. Or you can take pointy finger, take those off. I think you know where this is going. And there, now he's pointing at you. I knew it was you. Something like that. Yeah, so there you go. Finger guns, all that stuff. And then take your matrix. And like I say, if somebody knows a better way to do this than what I've done, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, you're just going to drape that over. And now he's sporting the matrix, kind of like Flava Flav with a huge clock there. So if I didn't just show my age, I'm going to be kind of disappointed in you. So there you have that. And then we'll move on to the guns. So the guns are what you would expect. You've got a pistol and you plug it in and it doesn't fit incredibly securely. So, you know, whee, does a little bit of flipping around on you. You can do that pretty easy. Kind of disappointing. Quick check, because I haven't checked the left hand. Does it fit more securely in the left? If I can get it plugged in correctly. No, it does not. So, yeah, there you go. So, loose in both hands. But, yeah, you plug it in and pretend that he can hold it securely for a moment. So, there you go. You got that. And time for the big rifle. Take the big rifle and plug that in. Big rifle is more secure, so yay, it's still kind of loose, but he'll hold it. And then you can, you know, bring these around. And, oh, I've got the finger gun on. I forgot that I had the finger gun. Oh well. So now he's gonna finger gun hold that. There you go. So that's a good look, other than the finger gun. Come on, ankles. There we go. Yeah, so there you go. And then the last thing to talk about is his cannon. So let me plug this back in. And then what you're going to want to do here is make sure that you have this slot oriented down below. And then you're just going to plug it into his arm. So let's get rid of this rifle. So you've got that tab right there. You're going to line it up to the slot as soon as I find it. And plug it in right there. And there you have Galvatron shooting something, holding his finger up in the air, looking like a rock star. So yeah, that's the quick rundown of the accessories in the bot mode. Overall, I really dig that he comes with a lot of accessories. Kind of disappointing that he doesn't hold the guns a little more securely. Also kind of disappointing that I don't have any other right hands, but I'm going to chalk that up to a quality issue that 2 left hands got packed instead of 1 left and 1 right as far as the splayed hands go. And yeah, love the fact that you can change his faces. One face is a little looser than the others. This one holds on pretty securely, so no major complaints there. Cannon looks good, so really happy with the amount of accessories that this guy came with. So now that we've got all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the transformation. Hey, real quick, before we get into the transformation, I wanted to show you guys something that I just recently discovered. I missed this during the articulation segment, but I wanted to make sure to show this off because this is something really cool. So this guy does actually have an ab crunch. So when I was messing with him, you know, I'm looking for the traditional style ab crunch. Oh, there's nothing there. However, he does have this point of movement right here. So if you grab him right here in the back, you can pull this down. Now, it's going to keep him assembled, and you don't get a lot, and you can see that he does kind of want to come apart right there, so I'm not entirely sure if this is a designed ab crunch, but it is one nonetheless. So you can certainly have that pose, and then you just fold this all back up and collapse him back up, and then you're good to go. So, yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning because, hey, ab crunch is nice to have. All right, so now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and jump into the transformation. Couple of real quick notes first. You'll notice that I've taken everything off of Galvatron here. He doesn't have his cannon. He doesn't have the matrix, anything like that. Additionally, I've put the fist hands back on. I'm sure you could probably use the pointy finger and the splayed out hands, but from an overall looks standpoint, when he's in cannon mode, these hide a lot better. So all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The transformation on this guy, to me, is frustrating. There are a lot of small, sharp pieces. I'm talking to you, crown. I'm talking to you, hip skirts. And some joints are super tight. I'm talking to you, shoulders. And some joints are super loose. I'm talking to you, hips. So this guy can get a little floppy, and sometimes he doesn't go where I want him to go, so I will do my best to save my frustration and just provide a clear, concise transformation for you guys. So all that out of the way now, getting all those disclosures out of the way, we're going to turn around and start here in the back. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take these two gray pieces and pry them away from that purple piece on his back right there, and then you can just pull this out of the way and bring it out. If you want to bring it all the way down, it's totally fine, up to you. We're going to have to rotate this 180, so just keep that in mind. All right, so now you've got this all loosey-goosey, and then you're going to take the arms and you're going to spread the arms out. Got a little ahead of me there. So you're going to want to raise the arms up, but you're going to want to spread these out, and you're going to want to bring these side panels all the way up like that. So then you can see up inside of him right there. Same thing over here, lift this up and then grab this piece, bring that all the way up. So you should have something that looks like that. All right. Now, once you've done that, this gives you the freedom to split this guy so you can bring him down just like that. Now we're going to take this central piece right here. This is on a double hinge, and we're going to lift that up out of the way. Now, I'm going to try to get this out of the way now. You have a point of rotation right here where you need to go 180 degrees with that upper body. So sitting here, rotating like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Lift this up, move that out of the way, and then I'm going to swing all of this stuff up. Oh, missed my step of moving those shoulders, sorry. So once you have that here, you need to bring these shoulders up like that, so that gives you the clearance. All right, so then you're going to come over here with these arms, swing this up out of the way, and pull that 180, bring that down, swing these all the way around 180 degrees. All right, so we have that out of the way, and you'll notice what I did there was this piece right here, I just moved that around out of my way right there. Now it's a lot easier to move if you keep these hip skirts horizontal, so you can move that around a little easier. It still catches a little bit right there, but once you get that out of the way, you can pull this piece down, which then allows you to bring this piece down as such. So now that we've got him all proper exploded, going to go ahead and take this piece and I'm going to move it the rest of the way around. So bring that up 180 degrees. This is actually going to rest up against the chest, and it's going to help provide us that orientation that we need for the cannon mode. So you can see the front of the cannon there. Now you can take that piece and just bring that down to get it out of your way for now. I'm going to keep these hip skirts up because the hip skirts in the final transformation, this is the way we need them to be anyway. All right, so now I'm going to take this piece right here. I'm going to bring it out like this so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to explode this out just like that, and then this is going to make the back, the round sides of the cannon in the back. And then one thing you'll notice down in here is you will see that Galvatron's horn in the front does actually have a recessed area that it will fall into right there in that part of the body. All right, so then you can rotate that around like that. You can start seeing where this is going to go. All right, now you'll notice right down here you've got little purple tabs, and you have slots right up in here. So once you get, you will know you have your orientation right, because once you bring these down, those will fall right into the right spot, and then you can snap those pieces in. We're not going to do it right now, I'm just showing as an example. So once you get everything set up in the proper fashion, you can bring them down like that and then tab those in. All right, so I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. Now I'm going to come up here to this piece and I'm going to explode this. So I'm going to open this up. That side's a little tougher than the other. All right, make sure I have everything oriented properly. Get my purple piece, there we go. All right, so now you'll notice that you have a slot right there, and when you flip this over on a double hinge, you'll notice that you have a tab right there. So ultimately what we're going to get to is fitting this in like that. But before we get there, we need to make sure that we have the orientation set properly for our shoulders. And we've got these little guys inside here. Let me pull this back apart and show you. Whoops, I didn't mean to collapse it. You got these little guys inside here that you're going to want to pull out. So if you look in there, you've got these little teeny tiny tabs, And I'm just going to use his weapon here and reach in there, and I'm going to get these little tabs. I'm going to bring these tabs out. So just like that. And then on the other side as well, reach up under there, bring that little tiny tab out, just like that. All right, so once we have those tabs out, now we can orient these shoulders properly. So your final version is going to look something like this as far as an orientation goes. And you will notice up under here, you've got little slots right there that are going to line up to these tabs. So those are going to fit in. Once you have everything oriented properly, they're going to fit in approximately like that. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back forward, bring this piece down, and connect those two together as such. And then I'm going to bring these pieces down and tab those two pieces in. So you've got your basic shape of your Galvatron right there. All right, and then I'm going to work on these arms now. So as far as working on the arms or the tracks, you're going to bring those up. They're going to fold together just like that. And then you're going to bring this piece around. But as you do, you have this little purple piece right here. You're going to flip that purple piece up, bring that around 180 degrees, and then you will see it's got that little tab right there. You're going to line it up with that slot right there, and then voila, you've made your track. All right, so let's do the same thing over here. So I'm going to rotate that arm around. So those hands are in the back, and then I'm going to rotate this around, lift this piece up, and tab that in, and voila, I've made my second track. So there you go. That's pretty much how it's done. And then just give all that a squeeze, make sure you're lined up there, and then we're going to tab these pieces in here, so it's a matter of finding that right orientation and pushing those in. And there you go. These do not hold very securely at all, so they're very easy to come out, very easy to go in. So they don't lock into place. They're just there for guidance, I suppose. And then squeeze these little pieces together up here. Give all that a nice push. And then, yeah, pretty much. You've got the front of Galvatron done. And if I can find that slot again. There we go. And same thing over here. Doesn't want to go in very easily. There we go. Oh, and then that one popped out. So I think you get the gist here. These do not lock in. I'm not going to get too picky right now. The point of the matter is you get those tabs in those slots, and then you move on with life. There. Good enough. All right. So try not to get frustrated here. Just got a lot of areas that don't really lock in on this guy. So there you have the front of the cannon. Should have something that looks like that. And now we will go to the back and deal with these legs. So it's my exasperated sigh, and I just moved the camera. Whoops, sorry. All right, so what you're going to do on these is you have to explode these legs. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this left leg first. So this foot's going to get in your way a little bit, but what you need to do is you need to bend this knee at the bottom bend. So you want his kneecap pointing up with his thigh. And then you're going to split, get out of here, right leg. Then you're going to split the leg just like that. And then you're going to explode it out and bring that piece out as well. So you should have a nice exploded leg, something like that. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to fold it up on itself. So lift this up, swing all this around. Make sure that your kneecap is pointing to the back. Oh, and then that happens too. So loose hip, yeah, happens all the time. That's like the fourth time that thing's come loose on me. All right, and then you make sure that that kneecap is pointing to the back. Now, I'm not going to do it yet, but one thing I do want to point out is you have two tabs right back here that are going to correspond to this slot right there on the back of the leg. So ultimately, oh, there went a fist. A fist just fell off. So ultimately, you're going to want that. That's going to tab in. That's really going to be between this and then this tab and slot system right there. That's really going to be the things that hold your legs together. So I'm not worried about whether or not it comes out right now, but that's what you're ultimately looking for. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this leg, you're going to swing that around. This foot, you need to rotate it according to the instructions. This is how they want it to be oriented as such. And bring that out. And something like that. Okay? So let's go ahead and do the other leg over here. Move that fist out of the way that just fell off. And I'm going to take that leg, bend it, make sure the kneecap is with the thigh, and then I'm going to explode this leg, bring that out just like that. And then I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to pull on that double hinge and swing this down, making sure that my kneecap is oriented to the back, and then that one fell off as well. So happy, happy, joy, joy. I haven't watched Ren and Stimpy in a while. I need to watch a Ren and Stimpy. Anyway, and then try to line up this tab and slot, and then that tab right there. Easy to do when the leg comes off, I guess. So squeeze all that together, tab that together, and then swing this down. Take your foot, rotate it 180 degrees, and then swing these pieces down. Make sure your thighs are out. And, you know, get those feet about where they need to be. And then same thing with your tracks up here in the front. Since this is just transformation, I'm not going to worry about being too particular with it. But once you have your legs, yeah, approximately right there, then you're good to go. And then you're going to take this purple piece, you're going to swing that down. It's just going to rest right there. Doesn't do anything else. My waist might be, there we go. Now I'm a little more lined up with my waist. Now you have the cannon essentially done. So what you need to do is you need to take, or the main body. Now what you need to do is actually take these two pieces, split them apart. You're going to take this little guy right here. You're going to plug him in right here on this peg. And, oh, sorry, you've got a little port right there. And plug him in, line him up. And then take this piece right here and plug it in. Spin that around. And that is a nice snug fit. And there you have Galva in his cannon mode. Oh man, I'm so glad that transformation's over. But here he is in all of his glory. I figured I would throw him on the turntable. That way you can get a couple of unobstructed 360-degree views of this guy and kind of soak him in. I think once we get him here, he's not awful. I don't think he's the most convincing Galvatron cannon I've ever seen, but you know, hey, I think he's more than adequate is probably the best way that I would put it. It was a little bit of a pain to get him here, but once you get used to the transformation, it's not so bad. Trying to present it on camera, that's another story. But yeah, so this is what he looks like when he's good to go. A couple things to note. I would say, number one, you can see right here, I have the fist on, and over here, that's the fist that fell off. I figured, well, what the heck, I'm just going to leave it off. That way, you can make up your own mind as to what you think looks better. Fist or no fist, it's totally up to you. And then the second thing is, if you did want to drape the matrix on, there you go. Draped with the matrix on. Still don't think it looks the greatest. Once again, if anybody knows a better way to line that matrix up on that chain, please let me know. But yeah, so there he is a couple times around. What we'll do now is we'll get that turntable out of the way, and then we'll bring him in for his details in this alt mode. Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring Galvatron or Galva in for his close-up, starting with that cannon that you've already seen. So there it is, and you can see how it plugs in. And we have that main cannon body right here. So that's some details we didn't get to see in the bot mode. Came out looking pretty good. Decent amount of sculpt work. Paint looks all right. You got those reds and purples. And then coming down here to those tracks. So nothing we haven't already seen. It's just a new configuration. Coming around to the side, you can see how it all comes together. You could do a little bit of a peekaboo to his face in there if you want to say hello. And then there's the side. Just not a lot to talk about here. There's his legs folded up on the top. And you've got this center band area right there. Came out looking pretty good. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Goodness. And then coming around here to the back. So there you've got his goofy little feet, goofy big feet hanging out. And then you've got those red kneecaps right there. Coming around, taking a look here. And there he is from the top. And from the bottom. And it looks like the cannon's a little crooked. Anyway, plugs in a little crooked, I guess. Yeah, so there you go. So no, he's not awful looking. I definitely prefer his bot mode over the alt mode here. I mean, the Galvatron cannon mode is what it is anyway. It's never been the most exciting thing, at least in my opinion. But now that we've gotten those details out of the way, not really a lot to talk about here as far as articulation or accessories. You do have a little bit of movement here. I'm not going to go too crazy with this because it's going to completely ruin the pose. But you can move those arms, the tracks in and out a little bit. Do that if you want to do that. Bring them out. Just be careful and know that when you bring these shoulders out, these pieces are going to come with it. And just try to be super careful. So if you want to splay him out like that, you can do that. And you can see just in the process of handling him, like he's already come loose up here. So, yeah. Stay together. Stay together. This is not the best testament for you. I'm trying to make you look good, man. Work with me. So, yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, I guess for the price, he came out looking pretty good. I've got him a little cattywampus now because I was manhandling him. Not a lot of articulation to talk about. You can move this, so you've got some range of motion there. So if you move these tracks, that's going to rest with it. You know, if you want it pointing down, that's going to go with it. You want it pointing it up, that's going to go with it. Like we talked about, you can throw the matrix on him if you want. Just drape it here, drape it around the cannon, whatever you want to do. No real storage for weapons or anything that you can do to add the weapons on, or at least nothing obvious that I saw. I don't know, you can't really pull a double duty with that slot down there with either one of these weapons, so yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to lay them off to the side. You also do not have, it would have been nice, but you do not have blast effect compatibility, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, there you go. I mean, on his own, yeah, the alt mode is fine. Bot mode is definitely my preferred mode here. So let's go ahead and get into those comparisons and see how he looks compared to some other figures. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on the alt mode comparisons. In fact, we only have a couple of them to show. But, you know, we're just going to come right through the door with the benchmark. This is the big one as far as I'm concerned for mainline figures. So on the left, of course, this is that Make a Friend KD02 Galva. Over here, this is that benchmark I was speaking of. This is the leader class Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Galvatron. And yeah, I mean, you can see, fine job over here, but this guy's still the benchmark for sure. Moving on to our next comparison, this gives you kind of a legend scale comparison. So this is the Magic Square Space Skimming. That's their take on a legend scaled Cyclonus. So kind of give you an idea there of what you're working with as far as size, and yeah, still some of the greatest mass shifting I've ever seen in Transformers history. And for our final alt mode comparison, here is a G1 representative. I do not have a G1 Galvatron in my collection, so I figured bringing in his #1 nemesis, the G1 Rodimus Prime, would be most appropriate to give you a sense of scale there. That's going to do it for the alt mode comparison, so let's get this guy transformed back into his bot mode. So thankfully getting Galva back into his bot mode is a little bit easier than getting him into his cannon mode. So let's go ahead and get started, and the first thing we're going to do is remove that cannon tip, which is a tight fit, and then we're going to remove this piece down here, and that leaves you with what you have right here. So now we're going to make our way down to the legs, and we're going to get those taken care of first. So this is the top. Down here is the bottom, and we're going to take this piece right here and move this out of our way, and that's going to allow us to just open these legs up right there. I'm going to open them up just like that. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to disconnect. You've got these two legs on tabs right up in here. So you're going to give that a pull and you're going to untab them. This gives you the opportunity now if you want to split them so they're just held together at that point at that tab and slot right there. So once we've done that, now we're going to extend this leg out, or pull this double hinge out, I guess the way I should say it. Pull this double hinge out and bring that down, and then that's going to lock into place. And then we're going to lift this up so the knee cap is with the thigh, and then we're going to bend this lower part down. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to accordion all this up. So you're going to fold this piece in. One thing that you might want to do ahead of time that's going to help is take this little flap right there and bring that out. That's going to give you the room you need for the foot. So accordion this piece in and then fold all of that up and give that a push. And then you're going to take that foot and rotate that foot around. And then you're going to fold this piece back in and extend that leg out, and you've got one leg done. So we're going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to take this on that double hinge and bring that back and give that a push until it locks in. Then we're going to lift this up, make sure the kneecap is with that upper thigh, bend the lower part of the leg, come over here and open this little guy right there. And then we're going to accordion this leg together. So give that a push there, and then trying to find you the best view here. It's just going to fold in just like that. All right, and then you're going to bring this foot around. Oops. Close that up. Bring this foot around on that ball joint, and then close that piece right there, and you're good to go. All right, so keep these hip skirts up. It's going to help with the rotation of these pieces right here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is lift this up, pull this out, and lift it up out of my way. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and collapse these. So I'm going to move these out like that, and then I'm going to, right here at this, fold that in and fold this one in, and just leave that as it is for now. Now I've got this opened up. It gives me the ability to have access to these shoulders. So you're going to pull these up like that to get those out of your way, and then you're going to take these pieces right here and lift those up and fold those in just like that, and then just move it out of your way for now. All right, now what you can do is take this long piece right here, move this around 180 degrees, and bring that back so it's out of your way. Once it's out of your way in the front, now you can lower this body right there, and then you can do it now, you can do it later. I will attempt to do it now. You're just going to rotate 180 degrees on this axis right now, and then these little tabs that are in here, you're going to push those in. You're not going to need those for bot mode. And then next thing you're going to do, show you the front here. You need to take his shoulders and rotate his shoulders around. So that way you've got those shoulder pylons sitting where they need to be. And next thing is you're just going to take this piece right here. It's on a double hinge. You're going to move it down so it's seated right there. And then you're going to bring up his body. So you should have something like that. And once you have it here, this is where you're going to be able to lock him in. So take this piece, rotate that around a little bit, and then fold this piece down. So you've got something like that. And then you're going to bring this up. And then you'll notice you have tabs, and you've got a slot right there in the middle. Squeeze these together, and then you've locked that body in place. So now that upper body is where it's supposed to be, and the only thing that moves is your waist. So it reduces a lot of the floppiness. Now you can bring down the hip skirts, and then we'll work on these arms. So the arms, not the most difficult thing here, so you're just going to take those tracks, give those a little bit of a pull, and then you're going to rotate this around 180 degrees. While you're doing that, take this little flap and push that little flap down. And then you're going to bring those arms out as such. Now, I don't have hands, or I don't have a hand on this side. I do have a hand on this side. This goes back to what I was showing earlier depending on the alt mode, whether you like him, the look of him with or without hands. All right, so we'll do the same thing on this arm over here. Pull this down, and then we're going to rotate this around. As we rotate it, we're just going to drop that little guy right there, bring that around, bring those arms out, and you're good to go. So the last thing that you need to do here is you need to push these lower shoulder areas into those holes, and all you do is line it up. Helps if you get that arm out of your way so you can get a thumb up under there, and then give that a push. And I wish that there was something that would actually truly lock these into place, because as you mess with him, they just come right back out. But it is what it is. This is how he is made. So just give him a nice solid push. Try to keep him in there with as much friction as possible. So do the same thing over here. Get up under there, give those a push, and then bring those arms down. And there you have Galva, loose hips and all, back in his bot mode. So we're going to have a few more comparisons in the bot mode than what we had in the alt mode, just to have a little bit of fun. And I figured I would go ahead and start with the G1 representation here. As I stated earlier, I don't have a G1 Galvatron in my collection, so this is my G1 Rodimus Prime. Moving on to our next comparison, this is the War for Cybertron Kingdom Core Class Hot Rod, and you can see those Core Class figures don't quite stack up to this Legend Scaled Galvatron. Next up is the Studio Series Scourge, so this is just to give you an idea of how Galva stacks up to a Studio Series Voyager class. So this will be the first of two Legend Scaled figures that we'll bring in for a comparison. So this one is the New Age Octavian. This is their take on a Legend Scaled Ultra Magnus. So I think our next comparison here, these two make a pretty good looking pair. This is the Legend Scaled New Age tier. It's their take on Cyclonus. And for our final bot mode comparison, here we see that Legend Scaled Galva next to what is my mainline benchmark here. This is the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Leader Class Galvatron. And this is the one, if you look closely, this is the one that has the backwards shoulders. No, I'm not going to fix them. I have the Studio Series Galvatron, which is the exact same figure that has the corrected shoulders. So it makes this guy a little unique, and I'm going to keep him that way. That's going to do it for the bot mode comparisons. So let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts before Galva gets angry and shoots us with his cannon and his little finger gun over here. So there we have the Make a Friend KD02 Galva. And I think if they could get their quality problems straightened out, this would make for a pretty darn good company with some really nice figures. But let's go ahead and jump into it a little bit, and we're going to start with the overall looks of the figure, the aesthetic. I think the bot mode on this guy is definitely the better of the two modes. I think it looks pretty darn good. Very few things to complain about as far as that bot mode goes. His proportions are maybe just a little bit off. Something doesn't seem quite proportional in the bot mode, but overall he looks really darn good. Alt mode is okay, but bot mode is definitely my favorite out of the two. It's certainly the way that I'm going to keep him on my shelf for sure. But yeah, I think that he's got it here, and the overall looks. The backpack is relatively small, and he just looks good. Just a good shelf presence on this guy. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for the overall aesthetic. I think if they did a little bit more work on that alt mode, we could boost that score up a little bit. Moving on to the articulation. Articulation is really well done on this figure. So knowing nothing about this company, I didn't know what to expect, but I will tell you that I am pleasantly surprised. You've got a wide range of motion here on this guy. Could have used a little bit more in the head. I mean, that's really about the biggest complaint that I've gotten. Maybe a few more degrees on those ball joints for that ankle, so you could get a little bit more ankle tilt. But everything else, he does it well. You know, you've got double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, wide range of motion in those hips. Just wish they would be tighter. You have waist rotation. You even have an ab crunch on this guy. So almost everything that you could ask for in a figure. In particular, for a Legend Scaled figure, this guy's done really well as far as articulation. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. Moving on to the accessories. Yeah, this guy comes loaded with a lot of accessories. I have no complaints there. It's really nice. I mean, you get extra hands, extra faces, you get the Matrix, you get a couple of guns, of course you get his cannon. So, you know, this guy is absolutely loaded with accessories, especially for this price point. I'm going to chalk it up to a quality issue and say that it would have been nice if I would have gotten something other than two splayed out left hands, if I would have gotten a splayed out right hand as well. But either way, I think that there's lots of playability here. With this figure, you can do all kinds of fun stuff with him for sure. So I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 for accessories as well. The one downside, no blast effect compatibility, but third-party company, legend scale, I wasn't expecting it in the first place. Now, taking us to our next bullet, this is the one I'm going to hit him the hardest on, is overall quality. So it's kind of a double whammy here with quality and the overall design of the figure. I will just start with the couple of design elements here that bother me. Number one, the shoulders right up here underneath, they don't really lock in bot mode. They're just held by friction. So as you maneuver those arms, those shoulders start to kind of come out of the chest, and you're constantly messing with those. So I would have liked to have seen something done differently with the design there, maybe some kind of a clip or a pin or something other than just holding on with friction. The other thing is all the sharp points on this guy. He's a small figure anyway, so when you're handling this figure, he's got some sharp edges and some sharp points. The top of his head and the crown, and then those hip skirts, specifically for those areas. If you're not careful, you could actually hurt yourself. These are hard plastics. They're not soft plastics on there. So especially if you've got somebody younger who might be handling this figure, they just keep an eye on it. They might hurt themselves. Now for the specifically quality issues, it is a tale of everything being loose. So he does have tight joints on him in certain areas. The shoulders are plenty tight, the head is plenty tight, the feet are plenty tight, knees are adequate. However, those hips kill me. Those hips were incredibly loose out of the box, and they're only going to get looser over time as you mess with him. Yes, it's a remedy that I can fix on my own, but why should I have to? I would expect that the quality to be a little bit better there. Those hips are awful. The faces are a little loose as you move that head around. As you transform him, those faces have a tendency to pop off. The guns in his hands are loose, really more so the right hand than the left. The right hand seems to have a less tolerance there, so I'm lucky that this gun is actually still pointing upward instead of sideways. And then the hands themselves, really in his left arm, the post and peg system that they have there is hardly any resistance. This is not a press fit in the least. It is very much a loose fit. So again, much like this gun over here, I'm actually happy that this hand has not started to twist on me a little bit in that wrist assembly. So a lot of loose things on here, and I think that this company really needs to work on their quality before they ship figures out. So I'm going to ding him pretty hard on this. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. So bringing us to our last bullet, which is overall value. Taking quality out of the equation, I think that there's good value here. There's a lot of potential here with this company. I have concerns with their fit and finish. That's really where it all lies. A couple of other minor things. Following the instructions, it's not the easiest thing. I think they need to work have a little bit better job with their instructions as far as the visuals, what moves, what doesn't. Not skipping steps. There are a few in there where they just completely skip steps. So I think if they worked on that, that would help as well. And then for the transformation, particularly to the alt mode, there's a lot of guesswork there because things don't necessarily pin in. They just get put in place. It's like, oh yeah, it looks good enough. One of those things. So, but all that being said, I do think that the overall value is here for this figure. I picked this figure up from tfsource.com. This was a pre-order for $40 US. So I think for that price point, I'm willing to forgive a lot of things. He is a legend scaled, comes with a lot of good stuff, looks really good. So I think for this first time out, I'm going to have a little bit of forgiveness here, and I'm going to give him a value of 8 out of 10. So with that brings us to our final score. Out of a possible 50 points, the KD02 Galva gets 40 out of 50, which puts him at 80%. That being said, I don't know if I'm ready to recommend this figure yet. He looks good. He's got lots of accessories, but I'm just really concerned about that quality. I don't want to recommend this figure with the quality being what it is. I would say buyer beware. If you want to pick him up, by all means do so. Just understand when you take him out of the box, there may be some quality issues there. So with that, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys got some good information out of this. Hope you got some entertainment. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment if you want to. And one last favor to ask, if you know of anyone that would like what we do here, the videos, the channel, all that good stuff, please share this video, share this channel with all of your buddies, with your family, with your friends, and help the channel grow. It's always fun to see that happen. So until we see you guys in the next review, take care.